Chosen one, the moment you have been sensing has finally arrived. Time has spoken and the signal is no longer subtle. It is undeniable. You feel the weight pressing against your spirit, the whisper that used to nudge you now turned into a roar. The hands of the clock are no longer moving toward the hour. They have struck it. This is the alert you cannot ignore, the sign you cannot dismiss. Everything you have endured, everything you have questioned, everything you have delayed has been building to this point. Now the line is drawn, the moment has come and you are standing in it. Stay with this message until the end, because within these words lies the energy of clarity and the reminder you need to act now. And when you finish, declare your readiness to the universe by writing your warmest wishes with the number 777 in the comments. This single act will not only release intention, but align your energy with fulfillment. It is a signal back to the universe that you have heard the call, that you are awake, that you will not ignore the strike of the clock. What you release through this act will return to you multiplied, for the energy of boldness attracts manifestation. Time is not a neutral force. It does not pause for hesitation or extend itself for comfort. It is always moving forward, and when it delivers a signal, it expects you to respond. Too often people live as though time is endless, as if opportunities will always circle back, as if tomorrow will always wait for them. But the truth is different. Some moments arrive once, and once they pass, they never return. The reason this moment feels heavier than the rest is because it carries that finality. The clock has struck and the window is closing. If you do not move now, you may never see this chance again. Think of how many signals you have ignored in the past, the subtle nudges you dismissed, the whispers you silenced, the chances you said you would take later but never did. Each of those was a warning, a rehearsal for now. But this is not rehearsal anymore. This is not preparation. This is the moment itself, and it demands not just awareness, but action. Awareness without movement is wasted. Understanding without response is powerless. You cannot simply know what is happening, you must act on it. And yes, acting now will feel uncomfortable. Urgency always disrupts comfort. It pulls you out of safety, forces you to step into the unknown, demands that you release what is familiar. But this discomfort is not punishment, it is proof. Proof that you are standing at the threshold of transformation. Proof that what waits for you is greater than what you are leaving behind. If it felt easy, it would not matter, but because it feels heavy, because it feels urgent, because it feels like everything depends on it, that is how you know it matters more than anything before. This moment carries a warning hidden in its urgency. If you delay, you will lose not just the chance, but the alignment tied to it. The universe has arranged pieces for this exact time, and when the clock struck, everything shifted into place. If you wait too long, the alignment will dissolve. The door will not stay open forever because it was never meant to. You are not meant to linger at the threshold, you are meant to walk through it. Waiting now is not simply hesitation, it is refusal. And refusal has consequences that echo longer than fear. The signal has come to wake you up, to pull you out of patterns that have kept you bound, to shake you free from illusions that time was on your side. It is not. Time is moving, whether you are or not, and if you refuse to move with it, you are choosing to be left behind. That is the reality of the moment you are standing in. This is why the urgency feels unrelenting, because the universe refuses to let you sleep through this alert. You are too important to be lost in delay. What you do now determines the shape of what comes next. This decision is not small, it is seismic. It will set the tone for your future, establish the direction of your path, and decide whether you walk into the life prepared for you or watch it pass by. You cannot underestimate the power of one choice. It may seem like a single step, but it ripples into eternity. One yes now can undo years of hesitation. One act of courage now can unlock doors you thought were closed forever. But one refusal now can solidify cycles of delay that take a lifetime to break. The alert is not meant to scare you, it is meant to free you. It is a mercy, a final call, a last gift of clarity before silence falls. You may not hear this sound again, not like this, not with this weight. That is why you cannot ignore it. To act now is to align with destiny. To wait now is to surrender it. There is no middle ground. The clock has struck and the time is here. The only question left is whether you will move or whether you will let the moment vanish while you stand still. When the clock strikes, it does more than mark a moment. It divides time into what was and what will be. You can feel the split inside yourself, the weight of everything you delayed on one side and the unknown promise of what could come if you act on the other. That is why it feels so heavy. It is not just a sound, it is a line, a threshold, a reminder that time is not infinite. Too often people treat time like it owes them another chance. They live as if doors will always swing open again, as if the signal will always repeat, as if alignment waits on their schedule. But time is not their servant. It is a current that moves whether they acknowledge it or not. And once it passes, it cannot be reclaimed. That is why so many people wake up one day surrounded by regret, realizing that the hours they thought they had are gone. The opportunities they assumed would return never did. Time did not betray them. They betrayed themselves by refusing to move when the signal came. You know this truth because you have felt it before. You remember the moments you almost stepped, the times you almost spoke, the seasons where everything pointed you toward action but hesitation convinced you to wait. Those memories still echo within you, not to torment you but to remind you. They are proof of what happens when the clock strikes and you stay still. And you are being given this clarity now, so you do not repeat it. The universe is saying, learn from the weight of your past hesitation so that you do not live it again. The danger of ignoring the clock is not simply that you remain where you are. The danger is that you move backwards. Hesitation corrodes confidence, delay feeds fear, and cycles tighten their grip the longer you obey them. Every time you refuse to act, you are not pausing, you are surrendering ground. The moment you hesitate, fear grows stronger. The moment you delay, opportunity weakens. The moment you dismiss the signal, clarity fades. This is the hidden cost of waiting. It is not neutral. It is destructive. But there is another truth. The very fact that you hear the strike now means you are still in alignment. The window is not yet closed. The door is still open, though not for long. The urgency pressing against you is not cruelty. It is mercy. It is a final chance to break free from the weight of delay and step into the future that has been waiting for you, pays you. The sound of the clock is not condemnation, it is invitation. But invitations expire. That is why you must treat this moment as sacred. The clock striking is also symbolic. It is more than a literal time, it is a spiritual awakening. It represents the moment destiny stops whispering and begins shouting, the moment opportunity stops circling and stands still before you, the moment alignment refuses to wait any longer. You cannot confuse this with ordinary time. This is appointed time, set aside for your transformation. To ignore it is not simply to waste hours, it is to reject destiny. And destiny, once rejected, does not linger at your doorstep forever. Do not let fear silence you now. Fear thrives in the seconds between the signal and your response. It will try to convince you that you need more preparation, that you need another confirmation, that you are not strong enough yet, but you have already been prepared, you have already been given clarity, you have already endured enough to stand here. If you wait for everything to feel perfect, you will wait forever. Perfection is the excuse hesitation uses to keep you trapped. Progress only comes when you act while afraid, while uncertain, while unsteady, and discover your strength in motion. Think of what happens if you choose differently this time. Imagine the freedom of breaking the cycle of hesitation, the power of silencing fear with action, the clarity of knowing you moved when the clock struck. That decision alone could rewrite everything. It could open doors you thought were sealed shut, release opportunities you thought were lost, ignite energy you thought was gone. It could remind you that destiny is not waiting for someone stronger, someone wiser, someone braver. It is waiting for you, and the only requirement is that you step now. The sound of the clock is fading even as you hear it. That is the nature of urgency. It arrives loudly, but it will not echo forever. Soon it will grow silent, and silence is not mercy, it is absence. You will either have acted or you will have lost. There is no in between. That is what makes this moment sacred and terrifying all at once. It is both invitation and warning, blessing and test. The only question is whether you will treat it as both. The strike has come, the alert has sounded, the call is clear. The time is not later, it is now. You cannot pause it, cannot negotiate with it, cannot delay it. The only thing you can do is answer it. And your answer will decide whether you step into the alignment you were made for or watch it slip into the silence of what could have been. The echo of the clock still lingers in your spirit. It is not just a sound, but a vibration that has shaken you awake, stirring parts of you that have been silent for too long. You feel it in your bones, in the restlessness of your thoughts, in the weight pressing on your chest. It is not anxiety, it is urgency. It is the reminder that the time you prayed for, waited for, longed for has finally arrived, and hesitation has no place here anymore. The human spirit knows when time has shifted. Even without a physical clock, your soul can sense alignment. That tightening in your chest, that stirring in your heart, that voice that keeps repeating the same truth over and over, those are not coincidences. They are alarms, spiritual signals telling you that the window is open, that the moment has come, that delay will cost more now than it ever did before. You cannot silence these alarms with distraction. You cannot numb them with excuses. They will not stop until you decide. This is what makes the moment sacred. The strike of the clock is not external. It is internal. It is your own destiny, calling you awake, demanding that you rise, insisting that you stop treating your life like it is disposable. You have wasted enough time on hesitation, given enough energy to fear, surrendered enough opportunities to doubt. The signal is not here to condemn you for what you lost. It is here to make sure you do not lose again. It is the universe saying, this is your alert, and ignoring it will cost more than you can bear. Fear will always try to convince you that waiting is safer, but fear is a liar. What it calls safety is actually stagnation. What it calls protection is really paralysis. Every time you believe fear, you trade your future for a false sense of comfort. And comfort is the cage that keeps more people trapped than failure ever will. Failure at least moves you forward, teaches you, shapes you. Comfort does nothing but shrink you until you forget who you were meant to be. That is why the clock has struck, to break the trance of comfort, to snap you out of hesitation, to pull you back into alignment with your true path. Do not underestimate the power of the signal. It may feel like a whisper to others, but to you it is a roar. That is because it was meant for you. This alert was not random, it was designed, timed, aligned with everything you have carried until now. The universe does not waste signals on those unwilling to hear. The fact that you feel this so strongly is proof that you are ready, even if fear tries to convince you otherwise. Readiness is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act despite it. Think of the chain reaction one step could set off. You take one bold action, and suddenly other doors begin to open. You silence hesitation once, and suddenly fear has less power next time. You choose courage now, and soon courage becomes your new normal. The strike of the clock is not only about this moment, it is about the ripple it creates. It is about the way one decision redefines the course of your entire future. That is why this moment carries so much weight. It is not just a chance. It is the turning point that changes everything. Look at the pattern of your life until now. Every time you delayed, you carried regret. Every time you acted, even if it was messy, you carried growth. The pattern is undeniable. Movement multiplies life. Hesitation steals it. You do not need another reminder, another sign, another confirmation. You already know the truth. The only question is whether you will finally choose to live it. The clock has struck not to give you new information, but to force you to decide with what you already know. And so you stand here at the intersection of fear and courage, delay and action, regret and freedom. One path is familiar, the other unknown. But familiarity has never fulfilled you, it has only trapped you. The unknown is intimidating, but it is also alive with possibility. That is why the signal presses you toward it. It is not trying to destroy you, it is trying to deliver you. The alert will not last forever. It is loud now, but if you ignore it, silence will come. And in that silence, you will either live with the peace of knowing you acted or the pain of knowing you refused. That is the choice, and it is no longer hidden. You have been given clarity, urgency, and the final call. The clock has struck and the echo is in your hands. What you do with it will define not just this moment, but every moment after. Every strike of the clock carries weight, but there is one that carries more than all the rest. It is the sound that marks the end of waiting, the collapse of excuses, the point at which hesitation can no longer survive. You feel it reverberate not only in your ears, but in your spirit, as if every part of your being is telling you the same thing. The time has run out, and now it is your turn to act. Time has a way of exposing illusions. You thought you had more of it, thought you could delay a little longer, thought tomorrow would be safer than today, but the truth is harsh. Tomorrow is never guaranteed, and waiting is never neutral. Every second you delay, you are not just standing still, you are drifting further away from alignment. The universe is in motion, destiny is in motion, and if you do not move with it, you are left behind. That is the quiet danger of hesitation. It convinces you that standing still is safe, when in reality, it is the slowest form of surrender. The clock striking is mercy disguised as urgency. It is the final chance to wake you from the trance of almost ready, almost brave, almost alive. But almost is not enough. Almost never built legacies, almost never broke chains, almost never fulfilled destiny. This is why you feel the pressure so intensely now, because it is no longer a rehearsal, no longer practice, no longer preparation. It is the moment itself, and you must answer it. You know what hesitation feels like because you have carried it before. The knot in your stomach, the racing of your thoughts, the endless list of reasons why now is not the time. Those feelings are not warnings, they are distractions. They are the last resistance of fear, hoping to keep you where you are. But fear always fights hardest just before it loses. That is why the weight feels unbearable now, because it knows if you move this time, its power over you is gone forever. There is a strength inside you that awakens in moments like this. You will not feel it before you step. You will feel it as you step. That is the design of courage. It does not arrive early. It arrives right on time, meeting you in the unknown, carrying you where hesitation never could. The strike of the clock is not just a signal. It is the trigger that unlocks this strength. That is why you cannot wait for the fear to fade before moving. If you wait for fear to vanish, you will wait forever. But if you act despite it, you will watch it dissolve the moment you move. Think of what waits for you on the other side of this decision, not just the relief of no longer hesitating, but the transformation of finally aligning with your purpose. Doors that have remained shut will open. Paths that seemed invisible will appear. Energy that felt trapped will be released. This is not exaggeration, it is the natural response of the universe to movement. Life rewards boldness. Opportunities are drawn to momentum. Alignment meets you halfway when you decide to move. The clock striking is not a warning of doom, it is an announcement of destiny, waiting for you to answer, but there is a cost to ignoring it. If you hear the strike and remain still, the silence that follows will not comfort you, it will haunt you. It will remind you of what you could have had, could have been, could have lived. Regret will settle in your chest like a weight heavier than fear ever was. And regret does not fade quickly. It lingers, echoing louder with every passing year. That is why this decision matters so much. It is not just about this moment, it is about the lifetime of peace or regret that follows. The strike is still echoing now, but echoes fade. You cannot rely on this urgency to last forever. Soon the intensity will quiet and you will either have acted or you will not. That is why you must not wait for another reminder, another signal, another chance. The reminder has already come, the signal is already clear, the chance is already here. To wait longer is to choose silence over destiny, regret over courage, fear over freedom. This is your alert, this is your moment. You do not need more clarity, more certainty, more proof. You already know what you must do. The only thing left is the choice. Will you step or will you stay? Will you move or will you let hesitation define you once again? The clock has struck and the decision is no longer hidden. The time is now. The moment after the clock strikes is unlike any other. There is a stillness in the air, but it is not the stillness of silence. It is the stillness of anticipation. Everything feels charged, as though the very atmosphere is waiting for you to decide. This is the turning point, the pause between the alert and the action, the breath before the leap. And it is here, in this fragile space, that destinies are written. The strike itself was the wake-up call, but what you do after it is what determines everything. The sound may echo, but the choice belongs to you. This is why hesitation feels unbearable now, because the universe has already moved. Time has shifted. Alignment has fallen into place, and now it is waiting for you to match it. If you delay, you fall out of sync. If you wait too long, the door closes. The urgency you feel is not random. It is the pressure of alignment demanding you rise to meet it. Think of how many times before you missed the moment. The opportunities you thought would circle back, the signs you thought would repeat, the doors you thought would always remain open. They did not. They faded. They shifted. They passed to others. And though you learned from those losses, they still left their mark. But this is different. This is not another practice round. This is the moment everything has been preparing you for. That is why it feels heavier, stronger, louder. The alert has sounded, and this time you cannot afford to ignore it. The danger now is not failure, it is inaction. Failure at least carries lessons, movement, growth. Inaction carries nothing but silence and regret. It leaves you with empty hands and a heavy heart, wondering what could have been if only you had chosen differently. This is why the pressure feels so strong. It is not punishment, it is protection. The universe is guarding you from the worst kind of pain, the pain of regret. It is pressing you now so that you do not have to live with that weight later. This is the nature of last signals. They are designed to shake you awake. They do not whisper, they roar. They do not gently suggest, they demand. And their demand is simple: move now, not tomorrow, not someday, not when you feel ready, now. Because readiness is not something you wait for, it is something you create. And courage is not something you find, it is something you choose. Consider what happens when you say yes to this moment. The atmosphere around you shifts, doors that were invisible appear. Energy that felt trapped begins to flow. People who were distant suddenly draw closer. The very ground beneath your feet feels different because alignment responds to action. The universe will not hand you everything while you stand still, but it will flood you with opportunities the moment you begin to move. That is the design of destiny. It meets you on the other side of fear. Do not let the old voice of hesitation trick you again. It will remind you of your failures, of the times you acted and it did not work out, of the risks that feel too heavy. But those are not truths. They are memories filtered through fear. The truth is simpler. Every time you acted, you grew. Every time you stepped, you learned. Every time you moved, you became stronger. Even your so-called failures were not losses. They were building blocks that brought you here. And here is where everything comes together. The strike of the clock was not random. It was timed perfectly, precisely. It arrived when you were ready, even if you do not feel ready. That is how the universe works. It does not wait until you feel strong. It gives you the chance so that you can discover your strength. And the moment you act, that strength will rise within you. You do not have to see the entire path to begin. You only have to take the step in front of you, and the rest will reveal itself as you go. The future is not something that will simply happen to you. It is something you shape, and right now you are holding the chisel in your hand. Every choice you make is a stroke, carving out what will come. Hesitation leaves the stone untouched, blank, lifeless. Action brings it to life, transforming raw possibility into living destiny. That is the difference this moment makes. That is why the clock has struck. That is why the alert has sounded, to remind you that time does not create your life, you do. So breathe deeply and feel the weight of this truth. The moment has come and it will not repeat. The clock has already struck, the echo is fading, and the silence that follows will either carry peace or regret. Only you can decide which. The alert was never meant to frighten you, it was meant to free you. But freedom requires courage, and courage requires choice. The time is now, the door is open. All that remains is your step. The moment after the clock strikes carries a silence that is heavier than sound. It is the silence of destiny holding its breath, waiting to see what you will choose. Everything you have carried, every signal you ignored, every lesson you endured has converged here. There is no longer room for delay. The window has opened, the alert has sounded, and the decision is yours alone. No one can step through this threshold for you. No one can silence hesitation on your behalf. The choice has always been yours, and now you see it with piercing clarity. This silence is not empty, it is alive. It holds the weight of potential, the presence of alignment, the pull of futures waiting to be born. You can feel it pressing against your chest, a reminder that nothing about this moment is ordinary. It carries the power to change everything. That is why your heart races, why your thoughts circle, why you sense that to walk away now would cost you more than you are willing to lose. The alert was not random. It was not subtle. It was designed to leave you with no excuses, no illusions, no lies to hide behind. You know the patterns of hesitation too well. You know how easily one delay becomes two, how tomorrow turns into months, how it almost becomes forever. You have lived that cycle long enough to know its cost. It steals your courage, robs your clarity, chains your future. But the strike of the clock has shattered the illusion. You see hesitation for what it truly is, a thief that must be confronted. This is not the time to coddle it, not the time to reason with it, not the time to wait for it to loosen its grip. It will never release you voluntarily, you must break free. Courage is born in moments like this, when the pressure is highest and the fear is loudest. It does not come before you step, it comes because you step. That is the secret most people never discover. They wait for fear to disappear, for certainty to arrive, for clarity to be perfect. And in waiting, they waste the very chance that would have given them all of those things. But you will not wait anymore. You know now that action is the cure to fear, that movement is the path to clarity, that choice is the birth of strength. The strike of the clock is final, but it is not cruel. It is a gift. It is the universe refusing to let you sleep through your calling, shaking you awake so that you do not waste what was always meant for you. To ignore it now would be to refuse yourself, to reject the very future you have longed for. But to answer it, to step, to act, to move, will align everything. You will feel the shift, not only in your circumstances, but in your very identity. You will no longer see yourself as someone who almost did, almost tried, almost lived. You will see yourself as someone who rose when it mattered most. And that shift will ripple through every part of your life. New doors will open, new strength will rise, new clarity will flood your path. You will walk differently, speak differently, carry yourself differently, because you will know that hesitation no longer rules you. Fear may whisper again in the future, but you will remember this moment. You will remember that you answered the strike of the clock, and that memory will silence every doubt. The silence after the alert will not last forever. Soon it will give way to either the peace of action or the pain of regret. Only you can decide which. But one truth cannot be ignored. The time has come. The signal was clear, the strike has sounded. There will not be another moment like this. You stand at the edge of transformation, and all that remains is the step. So take it. Step forward with trembling hands, with a racing heart, with the weight of fear still present but powerless. Step into the unknown, because the unknown is where your destiny has been waiting all along. Do not let this alert fade into memory. Do not let this strike become another echo of regret. This is your moment. The clock has struck, and your future is calling. Answer it now, before the silence swallows the sound forever. The echo of the clock still vibrates within you, reminding you that hesitation is over. This is the hour of courage, the moment of movement, the turning point you cannot delay.